We've all met someone like this, someone who's just almost impossible to get a read on. And it's not that they're being secretive or that they're shy. It just feels like they're operating on a completely different level than the rest of us. So today, we're going to dive in and explore what really makes this rare and pretty fascinating personality type tick.
I love this quote because it's such a perfect way to put it. We usually think of people who are hard to read as like a locked box that we need to figure out how to pick. But what if it's not a lock at all? What if they're just broadcasting on a totally different frequency, one that most of us just can't tune into? That idea suggests there's something way deeper going on here than just, being guarded.
Okay, so what is this frequency, right? What are the actual mechanics behind someone who seems so unreadable? Well, as it turns out, it's not some unsolvable mystery. It's actually a combination of very specific, kind of high-level psychological skills working together.
So let's move beyond thinking of this as just some big mystery. The real key to understanding this personality type, it isn't about what they're hiding. Nope, it's all about the unique internal tools they use to navigate the world around them.
Yeah, think of it like a highly specialized inner toolkit. This entire personality is basically built on 3 very distinct but also very interconnected skills. And I promise you, once you understand these 3 tools, that whole unreadable persona, it's going to start to make perfect sense.
All right, so here are the 3 tools in the kit. First, we have high emotional attunement. Second, cognitive control under stress. And third, selective self-presentation. Now, each one of these is a really powerful skill on its own. But when they all work together, that's when they create that calm, composed, and yes, sometimes enigmatic presence that we find so hard to figure out. Okay, let's break down that first skill, high emotional attunement. Now, this is a really crucial distinction from what we normally think of as empathy. See, it's not about feeling what other people feel. It's about accurately perceiving and understanding their emotional state with incredible clarity, almost like you're an observer, but without getting pulled into the drama of it all. And this right here, this is exactly why they can sometimes be misinterpreted as being cold or distant. Make no mistake, they totally understand what you're going through. They just don't get swept up in the emotion itself. So their response is calm, it's measured, and when we, as humans, expect someone to mirror our energy back at us, that kind of level-headedness can really feel like they're just not interested.
All right, the second tool in their kit is cognitive control under stress. And honestly, this one can feel like a straight-up superpower. Think about it. When the pressure is on and everyone else starts to panic, their mind stays remarkably clear. They can think logically and solve problems right in the middle of a total storm.
And what this does is create this really fascinating social disconnect. We're all conditioned to see people get stressed out in stressful situations, right? It's just what we expect. So when someone doesn't, when they stay totally composed and focused, it just breaks our internal script. We don't really have a category for that kind of reaction, and that's when we slap the label unreadable on them.
And that brings us to the final tool, selective self-presentation. Now, the keywords you really got to remember here are conscious and deliberate. This has nothing to do with being fake or wearing a mask. It's a highly intentional choice about what information is actually relevant and necessary to share in any given situation.
This is a really important point. It's the difference between hiding and precision. See, their goal isn't to conceal who they really are, it's to communicate with purpose. So they'll often just bypass all that social filler, all the small talk, and share only what is genuinely true and useful to the conversation. And yeah, that kind of precision can feel a little jarring when you're used to the usual back and forth. So, okay, we've got the 3 skills, that's the what. But that naturally leads to a much bigger question, doesn't it? Why? Why do they operate this way? Well, the answer lies in a fundamentally different value system, one that prioritizes personal truth over social trends.
Think about it like this. Most of us, and society in general, operate on a model of social adaptation. We mirror other people, we follow trends, we seek approval, all to fit in. But the unreadable person? They're running on a completely different operating system, personal authenticity. For them, the main goal isn't to be liked, it's to be true to themselves and to seek real, genuine understanding.
And this deep commitment to authenticity, that's the engine that drives the whole thing. Their composure, their precision, that emotional distance we talked about, it all serves this one core value. They would much rather be true to themselves and be misunderstood than be inauthentic just to be accepted. So now, let's circle all the way back to that initial idea of a different frequency. Because when you combine these 3 skills with that core value system of authenticity, That so-called unreadable personality suddenly becomes, well, actually, it becomes perfectly readable.
So what is this frequency? It's being able to perceive emotions without having to mirror them back. It's thinking clearly when everyone else is stressed out. It's navigating life with a compass that points to personal truth, not social trends. And ultimately, it's a deep commitment to being authentic in a world that so often rewards just adapting to fit in. That, right there, is the frequency they operate on.
And all of this really leaves us with one last powerful question to think about. In a world that is constantly pushing us to adapt, to fit in, and to be easily understood, what is the unique power and what is the true value of being unreadable?